she gotta picture it, okay? Like say I'm in bed and sleeping, and suddenly my wife wakes me up. David, wake up. And I'm like, oh, look who's come around. And I pull my dick over the top of my pajamas. And she says, no, I hear something. I go, oh, this bitch. So I get up out of bed, grab the gun. I say, wait here, baby, I'll go check it out. Just lock the door behind me. Oh my God, she's right there in the kitchen is a heroin-addicted white, and he's digging through the change jar by the door. I worked really hard for that change. I gotta do something. So first, I rack the shotgun. Hey, motherfucker, click, clack. That's a test. That click, clack sound will stop a rational human being in their tracks. But sure enough, this person is not rational. They're sick on drugs. They're digging in the change. I gotta act fast. This nigga's almost got $1.50. I warned you, birdshot. And there it goes. Hot BBs will permeate his yellow heroin skin. Remember, I'm not killing him. I'm just peppering him up nice. He lets out a heroin scream. And that should be the end of it. But, uh-oh, I miscalculated. While he's on the ground screaming, I noticed that his teeth are horribly miscolored. That's not heroin at all, is it? That's crystal meth. He pops right back up unscathed. Roar! Time for the heavy stuff. Clack, clack, buckshot! And then if he got a friend with him, I got one more bird shot left, and I repeat the cycle. After that, nigga, it's slugs for everybody. And I'll be in a kitchen full of dying heroin addicts, saying stupid heroin last words. You shot me, bro. Oh, it hurts, man. It hurt. Their last words are always the dumbest words, like, why is your dick out? I'm just afraid of being attacked. Happens to the best of us. Don't ever forget what happened to that French actor. You know what I'm talking about? Juicy Smouillet. He's a very famous French actor. Y'all never heard of Juicy Smouillet? Juicy Smouillet is an actor from France. And he became famous on a show called Empire. One night, he was in Chicago late at night and was the victim He was the victim of a racist and homophobic attack. You see, Juicy Smouillet is gay and he is black, not just French. Oh, it was a crazy story. Apparently, when he was walking down the street late at night, two white men came out of the shadows with MAGA hats on and beat him up. Tied a rope around his neck, called him all kinds of niggas, and put some bleach on him and ran off into the night. This shit was like international news. And everybody was furious, especially in Hollywood. It's all over everybody's Twitter feed and Instagram page. Justice for Juicy and all this shit. The whole country was up in arms. It was talking about it all the time on the news. And for some reason, African Americans, we were like oddly quiet. We were so quiet about this shit that the gay community started accusing African American community of being homophobic for not supporting him. What they didn't understand is that we were supporting him with our silence. Because we understood that this nigga was clearly lying. None of these details added up at all. He said he's walking down the street in Chicago and white dudes come up to him and say, "Hey man, aren't you that faggot nigger from Empire?" The fuck? Does that sound like how white people talk? I know white people. They don't talk like that. "Are you that faggot nigga from Empire?" They would never say that. It sounds like something that I would say. If you're racist and homophobic, you're not even gonna know who this nigga is. You can't watch Empire. Black people never feel sorry for the police, but this time we even felt sorry for the police. Can you imagine if you was a police veteran taking this kid's police report? "Okay, Mr. Smouye, please tell me what happened." "All right, 2 a.m. You left the house at 2 a.m. It's minus 16 degrees. And... all right. You were walking. All right. And where were you going?" "Subway." "Sandwiches?" That's when the men approached you? Did you see them? Do you have any? Okay, what they have on? MAGA hats. MAGA hats on in Chicago? Excuse me one second, Mr. Smouye. Frank, come here for a second. Find out where Kanye West was last night. Such a fucking outrageous story. He said they put a rope around his neck. Has anyone here ever been to Chicago? Yeah. All right, so you've been there. Now tell me, how much rope do you remember seeing? Who the fuck is carrying rope? Like, when did you get mugged, nigga, in 1850? Who's got rope? Who's got rope? Man, that shit was awful. So, okay, I'm doing a show somewhere, and I'm on stage, and I was a little drunk, you know. And I figured, fuck it, let me talk about that nigga a little bit. I figured to be safe, because, you know, everybody's phones are locked up. And I went in on this kid. I was talking all kinds of shit. Now, I didn't know that there was a journalist in the audience. And unfortunately for me, that motherfucker took impeccable notes. He told everybody everything I said. He was even putting the jokes in the headline. The headline said, "Dave Chappelle says he wants to smash a dollhouse over Juicy Smouye's head." I thought for sure when I read that headline, I said, well, that's it for me. I'm canceled. But lucky for me, that very same day, the Chicago police caught the motherfuckers that actually did it. And hilariously, they were both Nigerian. Not only were they not white, they were very, very black. They were Nigerian, which is the funniest shit. The whole story is funnier now. This is MAGA country, you faggot nigga. You faggot nigga. If you're in a group that I made fun of, then just know that I probably will only make fun of you if I see myself in you. I make fun of poor white people because I was once poor. And I know that the only difference between a poor black person and a poor white person is that a poor white person feels like it's not supposed to be happening to them. Everything else is the same. I know what it's like to have a cold house. I wasn't allowed to touch the thermostat growing up without asking my father. And it would be fucking freezing in the house. I'd be like, Dad, please, can I please just turn the heat up to like, I don't know, 32, nigga? It's really cold. And my dad would say, just put more clothes on, David. Got all 3 of my outfits on, nigga. When you look at me, I'm freezing up here. And he said, just don't think about how cold you are, David. And I said this, I didn't say it to him, but I said it in front of him so he could hear it. I said, I fucking hate being poor. And my dad got really upset. He didn't scream or holler, that wasn't his way. He just threw his newspaper on the floor and he said, David, 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 you are not poor. He said, poor is a mentality. He said it's a mentality that very few people ever recover from. Don't you forget it, son. You are broke. He said, these are just financial circumstances that I hope to overcome one day very soon. And I said, well, Dad, whatever you want to call this, it's wildly uncomfortable. There was a big dance coming up at the middle school. I was 12 years old. I said, Dad, can I go to the dance? He said, of course you can go to the dance. I want you to get out and meet some more kids. I said, great. It costs $3 to get in. And my dad said, ooh. Sorry, son, I don't have it. I was like, what the fuck? You don't have $3? Well, then how are we alive, Dad? Wish I found some way out of this hell. I'd do anything to not be poor. I will show Michael Jackson my anus if I get a chance. I just gotta get out of this hell. Dad said, if you want to go to the dance bad enough, I tell you what, there's some money in the change jar, get the money from there. I was 12 years old, that's what I did. I showed up to the dance early. There's a long line of kids waiting behind me while I'm at the door trying to count out 300 pennies to get inside. I will never forget this shit as long as I fucking live. Oh man, you know, if you've been poor, you know what that feels like. You ashamed all the time. Feels like it's your fault. And all them kids was laughing, ha, ha, ha. Look how poor Dave Chappelle is. Like when I think back at it, that's really the only time in my life that I ever thought to myself, I think, okay, again, of all those letters, the T has the toughest road ahead. In fact, I think the T should stand for tough road ahead. They've got the longest mental gap to bridge. That's all I'm saying. Because, you know, whenever I see one of them T's on the street, I don't mind them, but I'll be like, man, I miss Bruce. I'm sorry, guys. I'm 42. I remember Bruce Jenner. Before the Kardashians, before all that, this motherfucker was a white American superhero. It was amazing. He was beating Africans at track and field. We'd never seen anything like it. He was on my cereal box growing up. You know how much of that cereal I ate, nigga? I didn't know he was gonna do that. I knew before you guys knew. I heard things on the street in Hollywood. You know, you just be out, see people. Hey, what's up, Kanye? Why the long face? Nigga, you'll see. I got 2 mother-in-laws now. And when I heard he was gonna do it, I was scared. I didn't think the public was ready. I didn't think the media was ready. And you know what? I was wrong. Not only did the public embrace him, but the media was nice. I'd never seen anything like it. Welcome to the world, Caitlin. So long, Bruce. Hello, Caitlin. I was shocked. Is this happening? Wait a minute, is this a time in American history when an American can make a decision for themselves? And even though other Americans don't understand it, they'll support it and let this person live a happy life? Is this what's happening? If it is, then good for America. That's Dave Chappelle, the American. Although Dave Chappelle, the black American, he was a little jealous. I was like, how the fuck are transgender people beating black people in the discrimination Olympics? If the police shot half as many transgenders as they did niggas last year, it'd be a fucking war in LA. I know black dudes in Brooklyn, hard street motherfuckers that wear high heels just to feel safe. Transgenders are gangsters. I used to do business with a transgender in Hollywood. Man, everybody would be scared of her in the boardroom. She'd walk in there, newly minted woman, high heels, purse. Wouldn't say anything to us, just walk around the conference table looking mean as shit. And then she walked to the head of the conference table, stare at us all. Reach in her purse and pull her old dick out and throw it on the table. Let's talk business, gentlemen. Ah! Shit is scary as fuck. If your best friend pitched that to you, you'd be horrified. Yo, nigga, let's go to the hospital and cut our dicks off and make pussies out of them shits. What? Can't we just get matching jackets or tattoos or something? Sure, that's what you want to do? There's only one way to find out, nigga. Wu-Tang, bow, bow. Let's go to the club and trick niggas into fucking us, yeah. The third time I met O.J. Simpson. Third time I met O.J. Simpson, I was doing great in life. I just finished the second season of Chappelle Show. Man, those were good days. I was playing a comedy club in Miami, the Improv. I don't know if you've ever been, but if you have, you'd know. The door for the green room is right on the stage. Can you imagine such a thing? If I walked out of the door of the green room, bam, I'm just right here. It's right from the dressing room. And I did that. I walked out, and the whole crowd was like, hooray! And I looked, ma'am, as close as you are to me, I saw him as soon as I came out, the juice. And I saw recognition in his eyes, and it filled me with pride that he knew who I was. I didn't acknowledge his presence because it was a white audience, and I didn't want to start a panic. But I did my show. Show went great. I said, good night, everyone. They all said, yay! And I didn't say nothing to OJ, but I just gave him the signal, let him know I knew he was there. And I walked into the green room, and OJ was already in there. I was like, how the fuck is this possible? I was scared. And then my friends came in, and we all started talking. We sat down on the couch, and I'm just telling you what I saw with my own eyes. You can believe me or not believe me. But in my experience, O.J. Simpson, one of the nicest men I'd ever met. He was nice to me. He was nice to my friends. The conversation was filled with warmth and levity, humor, and wisdom. We talked for 90 minutes, and then suddenly the Juice said, you know what? I've got to be going. But it's good to see you again, and I'm glad things went so well. I said, thanks, Juice. And my friend said, yeah, goodbye, Mr. Juice. They're new to the game. He said, no, thank you for your hospitality. Good night, guys. And we said, good night. And he just walked out of the room. And as soon as the door closed, we all looked at each other like, that nigga did that shit. I could feel like Murder in the room. Well, you young heads missed that shit. You all too young, you don't remember that. How old are you, young man? You. 24, you don't know shit. You don't know shit. You gotta Google shit that I lived through. See, this is why I lock motherfuckers' phones up. Seriously. Because the young kids, you guys, look, you need to take a break from that. We all need to break just from that technology, just for a minute. You know, I'm from a different time, young man, a dark time to you. I'm from a time that I didn't even used to know who was on the phone until I answered the shit. Like when tragedy used to strike. I remember I was 12 years old and the teacher wheeled a television set into the classroom. You remember these days? And she turned it on to one of 3 channels. And she said, class, the space shuttle is taking off and we're all gonna watch it take off. Man, that shit was going great for like 3 to 5 minutes. That's right, you remember, it fucking exploded. Right on television, everybody on board, dead, immediately presumed dead. It was so bad, the teacher looked at all the kids and was like, you can go home. It's a goddamn national tragedy. This was Cold War America. The Russians were laughing at us. My point is, for a guy your age wouldn't even know the pain because in your generation, it's like the space shuttle blows up every fucking day. How can you care about anything when you know every goddamn thing? I'm getting over one cop shooting, and then another one happens, and then another one happens, and another one happens. I'm crying about Paris, and then Brussels happens. I can't keep track of all this shit, so you just give the fuck up. That's the hallmark of your generation. And that's fucked up because your generation lives in the most difficult time in human history. This is the age of spin. The age where nobody knows what the fuck they're even looking at. Did you know that Planned Parenthood was for abortions? It's for people that don't plan things out at all. That's right. So a guy your age doesn't really know how he feels. Are you pro-choice? Are you anti-consequences? What does it all really mean? It's easier not to care for you. But for us, we were trained to care. We were raised that way. I used to watch a fucking cartoon when I was growing up called the Care Bears. It was about a fucking group of teddy bear people. They were like teddy bears, but they were like people, and they were all different colors, and they all fucking just walked around caring. They cared about each other and everything else. They all had different designs on their stomachs, and the designs told you something about what they might be like inside. Very, very loving group of beings. And when shit got real bad, as nice as those teddy bears were, they didn't get mean faces, they got determined. And the leader would say, come on guys, it's time for the Care Bear stare. Remember that shit? And them little teddy bears would lock arms and stare at the problem. And I'm not even bullshitting. Actual love would shoot out of their chest and would dispel anything that was fucked up. And when we grew up, we wanted to be like those bears. And then we got our hearts broken because we found out that life wasn't gonna let us do that. And that it's impossible to shoot love out of your chest. However, I have shot love onto somebody's chest before. I do it all the time. It's the next best thing. Most of my friends are from the bottom of the socioeconomic ladder and made it to the middle and the top. What to do? So we all had a long trip.
I know you got to get your hustle. So I pray and I understand the game sometimes, yeah. And love is strong.
I love coming back. I've been back here many times, but not to celebrate me.
For you, always been here for you because you've always been here for us. And I love you strong, brother.
Richard Pryor was the first recipient of the Twain Prize. When I started SNL, he was the first person I asked to host. In the summer of 2016, with the election looming, there was another person who I was just as determined to have. I knew that for the November 12th show, after the election, it had to be Dave Chappelle.
Thank you.
I knew I needed someone to explain what had just happened. I had to have Dave for the same reason I had to have Richard. He's a truth teller and the funniest person working today. This was going to be a big moment for SNL and for him. I knew when the moment came, Dave would be ready for it.
But America's done it. We've actually elected an internet troll as our president. And the whites were furious. We've never seen anything like it. I haven't seen white people this mad since the OJ verdict. There's a split screen with white people on both sides. Ah! I'm not saying I'm enjoying it. I'm just saying I've never seen this before. I watched a white riot in Portland, Oregon on television the other night.
That Wednesday, the day after the election, we had our read-through for the show. The mood was pretty bleak. The people were feeling tense and very vulnerable. It was a mess. Dave sat down beside me, looked at everyone, and sensed the emotion in the room. He asked if he could read a quote by Toni Morrison. The quote read, "This is precisely the time when artists go to work. There's no time for despair, no place for self-pity, no need for silence, no room for fear. We speak, we write, we do languages. This is how civilizations heal." I knew then that we'd be okay. The show opened with Kate McKinnon singing Hallelujah as Hillary Clinton, and then out walked Dave. I had no idea what he was going to do. I'd like to think he did, but I'm not even sure about that. He was breathtaking. He was brilliant. It was a landmark show.
I'm wishing Donald Trump luck, and I'm going to give him a chance. And we, the historically disenfranchised, demand that he give us one too. Thank you very much.
Your ability to speak your mind, regardless of how anybody feels about it, that fearlessness to entertain the way that you want to, has definitely pierced my life to the point where I played a werewolf choreographer last night. And I was very proud to do it. And I learned all of that from you. You know, I hold your first 2 seasons of the Chappelle Show up against any sketch comedy show, I would say, in history. It's just brilliant.
Good evening and welcome to the first and maybe only racial draft here in New York City.
And I'm excited to see who's going to be drafted by which race. And the blacks have actually won the first pick.
Wow, that's the first lottery a black person's won in a long time, Billy.
Yes, and they'll probably still complain.
Man, fuck you.
Black validation. Shoot, Tiger Woods.
The richest and most dominant athlete in the world. Now he is officially black.
So long, fried rice. Hello, fried chicken. I love you, Dad!
I had no idea you had so many old white fans. But
I feel like I died and went to Brooks Brothers, but
I think honesty gets thrown around a lot. People talk about honesty in comedy, but a lot of great comedians don't always tell the truth. I mean, Rodney Dangerfield, I looked it up, was actually very well respected. He lied the whole time. When we talk about honesty, we talk about not being afraid to tell people the truth about how we feel, because that's the connection that comedians can have with people, and I think nobody does it better than you ever. And that's what we learn from, because we all know that we're a part of the joke. Dave makes it, he's willing to make fun of everybody, whether you're white or gay, end of list.
Everybody loves me, and I love everybody. I got friends who are L's, I got friends who are B's, and I got friends who are G's. But the T's hate my fucking guts. And I don't blame them. It's not their fault, it's mine. I can't stop telling jokes about these things. I don't want to write these jokes, but I just can't stop.
It's weird for me to even talk to you about comedy, because you can tell everybody in this room everything there is to know about comedy, but there's one thing that you'll never know about comedy, and that's doing comedy with a Dave Chappelle to look up to. So I thank you for that. Thank you so much.
Word.
And I'm here to celebrate Mark Twain. To me, that's comedy. If you don't believe me that Mark Twain is hilarious, I would just like to read a brief passage from Huckleberry Finn.
Okay. All right. Tighten up.
Huck Finn turned to his friend Jim, or as we called him, you don't have to read the whole passage.
Are we gonna make love today? As friends.
I have to commit now.
Oh, you smell delicious. I love him so much. I'm like I'm a very emotional person. You know this. I'm gonna cry for you.
I swear to God, I've never seen an art form purer than stand-up comedy. It puzzles me that people are confused if this is an art or not. Man, talking shit is an art. Talking shit is an art. Ain't that right, Mary? All the stand-up comics in the room, I just want to remind you, I promise you, and I've always said it, we have the best genre. We don't have to know anything but what we know. And everything we know is valuable because of what we do with it. Stay true to yourself. Fuck the game. The money will come. Most of you won't make it. I'm gonna be honest. I heard an interview with Patton Oswalt, famous comedian, started 1 week apart from me. Patton says in an interview with Terry Gross, you know how Terry goes, yes. Patton said to Terry Gross, he said, Terry, nobody does good their first time doing stand-up. And he stopped. I was driving in the car listening to this interview, and he goes, okay, Dave Chappelle did good his first time doing stand-up. I smiled from ear to ear. Patton didn't tell Terry is the next 7 or 8 times were fucking terrible. But the first time was so motherfucking good. It'd be like the first time you had sex, and then the second time you were having sex, somebody hit you in the head with a sledgehammer. This is not nearly as good as the first time. But you know what? Maybe someone won't hit me in the head with the sledgehammer the 9th and 10th time.
I don't even necessarily believe in politics, but I think that trust in politics is something that the country desperately needs.
President Bush continues to make his case for an invasion of Iraq.
After carefully examining the region, me and my cabinet agree that that area is definitely ripe for regime change.
All right.
That nigga tried to kill my father!
Man, Lincoln is fucking up. Damn. Truman is fucking up. Man, Carter is fucking up.
George Washington is the worst of the worst. Yes, I said it. We hold these truths to be self-evident. All men are created equal. Go get me a sandwich, nigger, or I'll kill you. Liberty, justice for all. I watched Donald Trump in a press conference. I am going to bring back coal. Coal? I'm not even exaggerating. I have never in my life even seen a fucking lump of coal. If you're gonna have motherfuckers digging around in the dirt looking for shit, find me some truffles, nigga. That's what I'm about. This is a fucking election year. We gotta be serious. Every able-bodied African American must register for a legal firearm. That's the only way they'll change the law.
Although America is the greatest nation in the world, we still face many modern problems. Healthcare is in shambles. Medicaid doesn't work. Meanwhile, our neighbors in Canada have free health care for all their citizens. So what am I suggesting? Fake Canadian ID cards for all Americans. I'm Dave Chappelle, and I want to represent you.
Look, it was way more intense than what you guys might have read. I don't know what you read, but the kid, while we was beating on him, reached in his waistband, pulled out a .22 caliber pistol. That shit was mayhem. Everybody started screaming, oh my God, he's got a gun. He's got a gun. And then I got scared. I was in the back, but I was scared because I knew that everybody that was with me was armed. Yes, if they had shot and killed this kid on stage at the Hollywood Bowl, like I pay you to do, Travis, but Travis G'd up. Travis wrestled the gun out of the kid's hand, and then he took it like this and tried to chamber the round, and he couldn't. So he pulled the trigger, and it wasn't a gun. A knife blade popped out of the front. I guess this kid was gonna stab me. Some scary shit. So the next night, even though I didn't have a show, I said, I gotta get right back on stage. And I went and did a show. And someone in the audience screamed out, Dave, what happened with the attack? And I didn't know there was journalists in the room. All I said was that this nigga had a knife that identified as a gun. I got 6 more weeks of bad press for that joke. I didn't even do nothing to this nigga. That was not right. That was not right. And then the New York Post went to the jail and interviewed my attacker like he was some kind of hero. And I read that interview. It turns out the entire attack was my fault. Yes, I triggered him. I didn't mean to. I had done jokes about the homeless. It turns out this young man was homeless. And I mean, there's no way I could have known this. But I will say, for a homeless guy, this nigga had incredible seats. Oh, and they said I triggered him because I had done LBGTQ jokes, and it turns out this fella was a bee. That was the headline in the article. It said, Dave Chappelle's alleged attacker is bisexual. I said, alleged attacker? This motherfucker definitely attacked me. I'll show you the tape. He's allegedly bisexual. I'm gonna need to see him suck somebody's dick before I believe the rest of this article. I read that shit in the paper. I was horrified. I was like, oh, bisexual? I could have been raped. No, you know what though? It's not funny because after all that madness ensued, I went to the hotel room. I was by myself and I opened the door and my wife was in there alone. She was sobbing, like sobbing. I said, oh my God, what's wrong with you, bitches? You get attacked too? And she's crying, she said, oh my God, David. She said, if you had died tonight, me and the kids would have nothing. Then I knew it was serious. So I sat down on the bed next to her. And I reached in my pocket, I pulled some keys out that she'd never seen before. She said, oh, what are those keys? And I gently placed them in her hands. I said, sweetheart, those are the keys to my safe deposit box. God forbid anything ever happen to me. But if it does, don't even worry about it. You and the kids have everything you need in that box. I've already taken care of it. And she was looking at them keys, and I could see her mind realize what we were actually talking about. And then she just started crying harder. And to be honest with you, that made me cry a little bit too. And we hugged each other real tight. read his text. I look at his pictures. I say, what the fuck is Earl? Who the fuck is Earl? And she said, David, what are you talking about? Oh, he's done with me, bitch. I don't know.
This fella sure does spell girl with a U a lot.
And I switched over and looked at his pictures, and I couldn't believe it. This fella looked gay and still pictures. His mouth was open in every shot. And then I knew she was telling the truth. And then I felt like dumb. I said, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry. Here, take your phone. I'm sorry. Just go back to sleep. I'm sorry. I guess I just been insecure because all this cheating I've been doing. Good night. And she didn't let me leave. She said, well, since you want to wake a bitch up. And then she pulled my phone from under her pillow. I said, what the fuck? She said, who is this bitch in this picture? I said, how'd you open that phone? She said, it was easy, nigga. All I had to do was mash my nose and go like this, and then open right up. I said, what the fuck? She said, who is this bitch? I said, give me that. Oh, girl, relax. That ain't no bitch. This is my friend, Deborah. I'm gonna close the night with a long story. Do you mind? All right, it's a long one, so pretend that I finished, because I gotta go get a cigarette, all right? I'm not done, but just act like it. I would prefer staying in the since we're acting. Thank you very much. Good night.